Imagine stepping off a 17-story building, feet first. For 4 seconds, you're just falling faster and faster until you're moving over 120 kilometers per hour. Then you hit the water, and in less than a second, it doesn't feel like water anymore. It feels like concrete. At that speed, there's no room for error. This is high diving, and right now, we might be at the ceiling of what our bodies can actually survive. See, whether or not you survive a high dive depends almost entirely on how you enter the water. For the average person, a head-first dive starts becoming dangerous at around 26 feet. Go beyond that, and you're risking serious spinal cord and neck injuries. A hands-first entry buys you a bit more, up to around 39 feet. But past that, the force can compress your shoulders and snap your collarbones. And then there's the safest method, feet-first entry. But even that has a limit, roughly 49 feet. Beyond this, the impact alone can shatter your knees and send force straight up your spine. That's why Olympic platforms top out at just 10 meters, about 33 feet. Even the best divers in the world, under organizations like FINA, are operating well within what the human body can reliably survive with perfect form. However, human height records have been attempted for decades, and they got higher and higher until they stopped improving significantly. In 1982, during ABC's Worldwide Sports World Record High Dive Challenge, American diver Dave Lindsay set a staggering new record, 51.8 meters. Just a year later, in 1983, that record was pushed even higher at SeaWorld San Diego, where Dana Kunz and 4 others reached 52.4 meters. But this is where things start to change. In 1985, Randy Dickinson attempted 53.2 meters in Hong Kong. He survived, but suffered multiple fractures in his leg and couldn't leave the pool on his own. 2 years later, in 1987, Olivier Favre went slightly higher, 53.9 meters. This time, the consequences were worse. He broke his back on impact and had to be rescued from the water. His record would remain standing for nearly 40 years. Then, in 1997, Rudolf Buck jumped from 58.2 meters off the Zydeco Bridge. Not even a dive, just a jump. He survived, but with fractures in his spine and multiple internal injuries. Then, in 2015, Lasso Schaller, Swiss-Brazilian daredevil, jumped from the spectacular height of 58.8 meters, higher than the Leaning Tower of Pisa, off a purpose-built waterfall in Maggia, Switzerland. This is the Guinness World Record holder for the highest high dive, and it still stands. He hit the water at over 123 kilometers per hour and fell for 3.5 seconds. Remarkably, he only walked away with a ligament injury to the knee. To this day, he has not been beaten, and his dive hasn't been surpassed by any meaningful margin. The reason this matters is that at great heights, the speed of freefall does not increase linearly. In fact, it accelerates rapidly. Olympic high divers hitting the water from 10 meters reach approximately 50 kilometers per hour, while Schaller hitting the water at 58.8 meters was traveling at over 120 kilometers per hour. The actual impact does not destroy the body. The instant deceleration does. At these speeds, your spine, hips, ankles, even your internal organs are subjected to tremendous force. The water does not act like water. It becomes solid, and the least slight mistake when entering the water, perhaps one knee bent or one arm not completely tucked at your side, and the impact of hitting the water is like hitting a concrete wall. Fractures, internal bleeding, and spinal cord damage become common problems. The body must become as streamlined as possible, and that is why high divers train for hours on their pencil entry. This is where the body becomes a spear. All muscles are tense, and the feet and legs are as tight together and vertical as they can possibly be. Sometimes air bubbles are blown into the water from an underwater hose to provide a cushion upon impact. However, even with perfect execution of entry, there is only a limit as to how much force the human body can withstand. It is the feet and lower leg bones that are initially impacted and absorb all of this force, which travels through your entire skeleton, up your spine, causing spinal compressions to occur. The internal organs continue moving at the original velocity for a microsecond and are stretched until they either rip or bleed. Lungs can compress such that for a split second, the diver cannot breathe. However, at greater heights, blacking out from the sheer G-force is also a risk. As can be seen from the records, in the early days of high diving, there was a great increase in height. However, the increases began to slow, and eventually injuries were so common that no record beyond 58.8 meters could be achieved. Schaller's addition to the record was only a meter or two greater, and he paid the price for it. Each additional meter represents exponentially more speed, force, and thus danger. Essentially, our own biology is the ultimate limit. Even the most extensive of training regimens cannot compensate for the physics involved in moving that fast and then decelerating so rapidly in that distance. It is possible for an additional meter or two to be achieved with perfect planning and ideal conditions, but it seems likely that significant records in high diving are a thing of the past. Any further jumps would have to involve great risk for only minuscule gain, if they occur at all.